Welcome back, everyone. It is Eric from Rare Candy, and today we have a top 4 match of the recent League Cup I got to go attend at Guild Gaming in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So if you did miss it already, I did upload a top 8 match on the channel, which you can find linked down below, as well as the finals match whenever that eventually goes live as well. But here in this top 4 match, we have Garrett Briglia over there on the left, facing off against Alfredo Sepulveda over there on the right. Garrett's going to be playing Lost Box, and Alfredo is going to be playing a Rapid Box. Now, I will say on paper, this doesn't look like a great matchup for the Lost Box player. I think one of the big, allures to the whole Rapid Strike deck is actually because it's so favored against these Lost Box decks, because you can do all these double KOs with things like the ability sniping effect you have on Inteleon VMAX. You have the Metacham V to take extra turns. You have Rapid Strike Urshifu to take double KOs. You really do have to make sure your bench doesn't just get mowed down by this Rapid Strike deck. But it looks like Garrett is going to get to go first, which is definitely good. He wants to try to get set up as quickly as possible and start putting on some pressure ASAP here. But beyond that, nothing else, no comfies. He does have a Chorus at least ready to go for the next turn, but probably not the big explosive turn one that Garrett was looking for. But Alfredo is going to kick things off with a Nest Ball. I imagine we'll probably see either a, not a Ralts, but a Remoraid. I was blanking on the Pokemon for a moment. We'll probably see a Remoraid or an Inteleon V. I think those are probably the two Pokemon he is looking to sort of get down next, more than likely. Looks like Alfredo is going to go for the Remoraid. He knows how important that Octillery is going to be, to have in play throughout the game here. And he actually does have a 4 Sealstone, so if he does decide to, he could even use that to maybe get himself a Battle VIP pass to get some more Pokemon in place. Let's see what he's going to do here. Seems a little bit conflicted, but yep, there he goes. He is going to activate that 4 Sealstone. So, of course, it's a Pokemon tool card, guys, and it gives your Pokemon a V-Star power if they're a Pokemon V. And this one lets you search your deck for any card. So here, this will be great to help him get set up. And actually, he can go for Irida here. Looks like that is the card that he's getting, because now he can not only get that Battle VIP pass, which is really the big card he wanted this turn no matter what, but he can also get an additional Pokemon with Irida. So this is a really solid opening turn for Alfredo here. I don't think he could really ask for a whole lot more at this point, but there's going to be, it looks like, a Radiant Alakazam and an Inteleon V. And one thing I do like about Alfredo prioritizing the Alakazam here is that if Garrett does pop off and is able to get off an attack on his next turn, if he does play an Escape Rope, Alakazam is a Pokemon you don't mind setting up. I think the only thing that Alfredo would really want to see at this point is maybe an attachment for turn, but now he does have a Rapid Strike energy. It does look like he's a little bit, he looked a little bit conflicted about where he wanted it, but here he's just going to attach it to the Rapid Strike Urshifu, and looks like use the first attack to switch it onto the bench. I think that is what happened there. But anyways, Garrett is going to use a Chorus here. Definitely his perfect supporter at this point in the game. He does seem a little bit conflicted about what he wants to toss away here. And he does get rid of his Sui and Heavy Ball. And, the awkward thing about this is because he hasn't searched his deck yet at this point. So it's kind of tricky deciding if you want to get rid of the Heavy Ball, because if you prize your Manaphy or and as you can see, that's actually literally the card he prized here. If you prize a Manaphy or another important Pokemon in this matchup, well, now you don't really have access to that Pokemon until you can fish it out of your prizes. And this is actually pretty bad for Garrett, because prizing Manaphy that's like one of your most important Pokemon for this matchup, because of the G-Max Rapid Flow on the Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max, being able to just target down multiple of these small, low HP Pokemon that you always have in play as the Lost Box player. So far, things aren't going the best for Garrett, but it's only turn 2, guys. We're still really early in this game. And so we'll have to see what he can do here to maybe put on some pressure. There's going to be a Cramorant, so that's a good first step to maybe being able to put on some pressure. Pokestop. And yeah, that is actually a broken Pokestop. Just got Garrett 3 cards there. Didn't have to discard anything. So if his Pokestops can hit like that the rest of the game, maybe he has a chance at coming back in this one. Looks like there's going to be a lost vacuum, getting rid of that Pokestop as well. And looks like we are going to see a spit innocently from the Cramorant. So even though this Rapid Strike Urshifu is definitely a bit of a threat, at least now Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max is within one-shot range of a Dragonite V if Alfredo does evolve into it. So let's see how Alfredo is going to respond here. Okay, we see an Energy Search grabbing Alfredo a Water Energy. Okay. So we could see him use that to potentially use Inteleon VMAX's ability, or it could be used as an attachment to use Gmax Rapid Flow on Urshifu VMAX if we do see that Pokemon come into play this turn. And it does look like that is what Alfredo is sort of eyeing down here with the Rapid Strike Search ability on Octillery. So of course the ability on Octillery is really, I think, the sort of glue that holds this whole deck and engine together by allowing you to search your deck for a Rapid Strike card once per turn. So that is going to get him the Urshifu here. But Alfredo still hasn't committed an energy attachment for turn, so he seems a little bit unsure about what route he wants to go. He hasn't played a supporter, so okay, there's going to be the Urshifu VMAX. And we are going to see the Gmax Rapid Flow taking the double KO. Getting rid of the Comfy in particular is pretty important because that is sort of the whole engine of Garrett's deck here, but Garrett does find another Comfy and has a Colress, so you know he's still very much in this game. I think the big thing he really wants to see is Dragonite V to potentially knock out this Rapid Strike Urshifu. Because Garrett knows that Alfredo, he's going to be playing Melanies and stuff like that to keep chaining these attacks. So if he can make it a little bit harder on Alfredo to, you know, do that Gmax Rapid Flow attack again, that would definitely be really big. But the only downside, if Garrett is able to set up a Dragonite, and I'm not sure if he actually has it in deck. Okay, it looks like Garrett is just going to scoop this one up, and as you can see, he did have both Raikou and Manaphy in the prizes, so Raikou definitely could have been a good attacker there as well. But not having the Manaphy in particular, I think, was the big card that he really would have liked to have seen. But guys, you know what? This is going to be a best out of 3 series, so Garrett definitely has a shot at bringing this one back, absolutely. And because he did lose game 1, he does get to more than likely go first here in this second game. So he's probably just thinking, you know what? My prizes aren't going to be that bad a second time in a row. So let's just scoop it up, go to game 2, save time to try to finish a best of 3 series. And it looks like Garrett does have a Colress ready to go for next turn. Does have a Nest Ball, some switching cards. Okay, so we will at least see a Flower selecting this turn, unlike his first turn in the last game. And right away, you see him check. There is that Manaphy. He knows that's going to be an important card for this matchup. Okay, there's going to be a Comfy. Yeah, just go for the double Comfy. I think that seems good. Like, you want the Manaphy down, but you really don't need it turn 1. You really just need to start cycling through these Flower selecting abilities on the Comfies and start setting up cards into your Lost Zone. Now we know that Garrett has, I think, a couple of switch cards, so he should be guaranteed 2 Flower selectings minimum here. But let's see what else he can find. Okay, so Flower selecting number 1. We see, I think, a Mirage Gate. I can't tell the other card he has there. Okay, it looks like he is going to chuck away a Sableye. Feels bad, but of course you can always just use Super Odd to get your remaining one back if you need to. So Flower selecting number 2. Okay, he has to decide between a Pokestop and a Colress, but is opting to save the Colress. So going over to Alfredo, what is he going to do this turn? I'm assuming he would like to have an Irida, because Irida would at least set up his board pretty well, because he would be able to guarantee himself a Battle VIP pass. And he does have an Ultra Ball, so he could actually go for Lumineon V if it's not prized, and set up that whole play if he wants to. That is an option, though. Lumineon's definitely not a Pokemon you like having in play. Okay, there's going to be the Ultra Ball, so I'm assuming this is going to be a Lumineon here. Okay, and we do see him bring it to the front of his deck, so it looks like that is the route he's going to be thinking. You know, probably assuming he didn't prize his Iridas, I imagine that is going to play. We are going to see from Alfredo this turn. Okay, yep, there's the Luminion. Again, we kind of saw that one coming. Now, the big question is, what Pokemon are we going to see Alfredo get here? We know Remoraid and Inteleon are going to be 2 of the 3 Pokemon, more than likely. But what's going to be the third one? So we could even see a second Rapid Strike Urshifu V in case Garrett is able to set up Dragonite V to knock out this active one. I think that definitely is an option. Okay. So Alfredo's thinking here. And it looks like that is sort of the route he is leaning. I'm sure he would like to have a second Inteleon VMAX set up at some point, just because that sniping effect that it has as its ability is so good against these low HP Pokemon in the Lost Zone deck, but he really wants to get off that Gmax Rapid Flow attack next turn. And here we have a bit of a small misplay from Alfredo. Had he attached the energy to his active Urshifu, he could have actually used the Strafe attack and switched to the bench, still effectively ending his turn the same way, but he would have had a little bit of damage on the field to play with. So there's going to be a Courses experiment from Garrett. So it looks like he's debating getting rid of, I think it's Raikou and Forest Sealstone. Oh, okay. Forest Sealstone and a Water Energy. My bad. I don't know how I thought that was a Raikou. But he does have the Mana Feed. That's definitely good for him. Okay, Flower Selecting, getting rid of a Comfey. Okay, Switch Cart. I think that's a Nest Ball and a Cramorant, so getting rid of the Nest Ball. And we might just see a Spit instantly this turn, which it's not a knockout, but you know what, guys, it's still something. It's definitely going to set up some future math to you know, finish off this Urshifu at some point. And of course, Cramorant doesn't give up 2 prizes like the Dragonite, and it doesn't damage your bench like Dragonite, so there's still upsides to having to have used the Cram that turn instead of getting the 2 prize KO. But Alfredo, once again, he seems a little bit torn about what route he wants to take this turn, but it looks like there is going to be an Iono, and he does have the Octillery in play too, so on the other end of this Iono, he is going to be guaranteed at least 1 additional Rapid Strike card of some sort here. Okay, we do see a Nest Ball. So we could see, okay, we have a Forest Sealstone coming down on the Luminion. Okay, so between the Forest Sealstone and the Octillery, I mean, I'm almost certain we're going to see an attack happen this turn and knock out this Cramorant. And Alfredo does have a final bench spot he could get down or could occupy with that Nest Ball, but I think there is, you know, even a world where he might even think about saving that last bench spot because, you know, he would kind of like a second Inteleon V, but also he would kind of like Medicham V. He would kind of like Radiant Alakazam. All these are cards that you kind of want in play depending on the situation, so he could even just leave that last bench space open for future turns to decide what route he wants to take his turns. But there's going to be the Forest Sealstone being activated, getting him 1 additional card out of his deck here. Though I didn't get a good look at what he might have grabbed. Okay, and I believe that is a Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX that he got off the Forest Sealstone, if I'm seeing correctly. Okay, there is the Rapid Strike Urshifu. And as you can see, he did find the Tower of Water Stadium. He needs to be able to retreat into it this turn. Just kind of unfortunate, Alfredo does not have the Inteleon VMAX here because he would be able to use that ability to discard that water energy he has in hand. Okay, but Alfredo is going to use the Nest Ball here. Looks like he is eyeing himself down the second Inteleon V. I definitely do like that too. I think out of all the Pokemon that you would consider filling that last bench space with if you are going to fill it up currently, Inteleon definitely makes the most sense. And there is going to be the knockout on Cramorant with that Gale Thrust attack. Now, the one thing that is a little bit awkward here is that Garrett doesn't really have a great way at dealing with a Rapid Strike Urshifu. He definitely is going to have to go for some sort of two-shotting attack. Like, we know he has Dragonite V in hand, and Dragonite's, you know, a pretty good attacker, but it definitely has some downsides to it as well. Okay, but there's going to be a second flower selecting. Easy decision. Love seeing those battle VIP passes. Off flower selecting. Makes your life just a lot easier. So we have a Pokestop getting a Super Rod, and I did not notice the other card. It might have been a Mirage Gate. Sorry, I missed that last item he got off of it, but did have the Stadium Bump. That's the important thing here. Now, there is Lumineon in the active spot, so I think Garrett is tempted to just go for this attack with Dragonite here, just to get himself an easy prizes. But let's see, how many cards does he have in Lost Zone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so he is a little bit shy of being able to use Sableye. I think he would actually may even prefer using Sableye if he was going to attack with something here, since it only gives up a single prize, and he has the Super Rod ready for if it gets KO'd. But, you know, using Dragonite to knock out the Lumineon still does net you 2 prizes at the end of the day, and it looks like that is what he's thinking about here. Okay, there's going to be a Super Rod, getting back Water Energy, Cram, and yep, the other Water Energy. It seems pretty good. Okay, there's going to be the Mirage Gate. All right, Dragonite is all ready to go at this point. Now, he does have an Escape Rope in hand, so if he does play that, Lumineon is going to be moved out of play, though. Which honestly might even be preferable. Like, that's probably actually the Pokemon that's least threatening on Garrett's side of the field here. So I feel like if you're Alfredo here, probably just sack the Rapid Strike Urshifu V at this point. Yeah, seems good. Another reason I like this too is because it effectively wastes the 110 damage that was previously put on it by the Cramorant. It sort of just nullified an entire attack. But either way, it's still going to net Garrett 2 prizes here, which is definitely good. Now, downside to this, of course, though, is that Dragonite, while it does have a pretty heavy-hitting attack, it does damage your own bench Pokemon, which is something you don't like seeing with this, or going up against this Rapid Strike deck, just because these Inteleons can snipe additional damage counters. There's the Radiant Alakazam, there's the Medicham V. There's a lot of threats that can really capitalize on this peppering of your own Pokemon with these damage counters. So we'll have to see how Alfredo is ultimately going to respond here, but for the moment, it looks like he's just going to promote this Inteleon V. Okay, there's going to be an Irida, so that is going to get him a Water Pokemon and an item. So Inteleon VMAX is probably going to hit the board this turn finally. So it looks like he's going for that and a Water Energy. Or Energy Search, I should say, but more likely this Energy Search will find him the Water Energy. Yep. Seems good. So there is the Inteleon VMAX. So now Alfredo can use its ability to discard a water from hand and place 2 damage counters on 2 of Garrett's bench Pokemon. Okay, we have Rapid Strike Surge. I would imagine we might see a Tower of Waters come down just to be able to move this Inteleon V. Yep, seems good. So honestly, even just using Inteleon's ability once and using Gale Thrust to soften up this Dragonite seems pretty good. I know it doesn't allow you to have an insane turn this turn, but it honestly kind of sets up for a pretty big turn next turn with Gmax Rapid Flow. So Alfredo is going to discard water, softening up that Manaphy, and it looks like he's thinking about the Sableye. And yeah, that is the route he's going to go here. And so yeah, just using Gale Thrust with the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is going to at least soften up this Dragonite. And now next turn, if Alfredo is able to knock out this Manaphy via Inteleon VMAX or Radiant Alakazam or something like that, he can actually remove the Manaphy from play and then Gmax Rapid Flow and knock out Dragonite plus another Pokemon. So he's looking at potentially a 4 prize turn on this next turn. But we are seeing, looks like the 4 Seal Stone from Garrett here. What is he going to do with this, though? Looks like he is contemplating the Colress's experiment. Seems good. Now, what could be good here to maybe make things a little bit more difficult on Alfredo is to maybe find some switch cards. Because if he is able to do a bunch of switching card shenanigans and start healing down this mana fee, that could potentially set Alfredo back another turn. And I think the series is largely going to come down to that. Okay, we do see 1 switch card, which is definitely good, but he sort of needs 2 switching effects here to really have, I think, a good turn. This is definitely a little bit of an awkward decision, so he is getting rid of, looks like, Super Rod and the Echoing Horn. Super Rod's never really a card you want to get rid of, but here we are, unfortunately. But he does have another one in hand, so yeah, actually not too big of a deal. But he has finally crossed that 10 card threshold in the Lost Zone, so now if he does want to, he can use the Sableye here to attack. Okay, and it looks like we are going to see a Lost Mine, but where does he want his damage counters? So it looks like he is going to knock out the Octillery, and then just put 1 on the Inteleon. That's probably okay. So he's just making it as difficult on Alfredo as possible to pull off this giant turn, because he can, Garrett can see what's coming. And, the Octillery is a big part of being able to make these sort of plays happen. Okay, so we are going to see the Inteleon VMAX use its ability. Again, probably soften up mana fee. And looks like a Comfy as well. We see, looks like a Rapid Strike Energy in hand. But there is going to be a Research. I'm actually not sure how I feel about that. I kind of would have liked to have seen the Rapid Strike Energy come down. Because if he is able to pull off the attack, like the whole Wombo combo, and it looks like he is going to be able to, and knock out this mana fee, that second Rapid Strike Energy would have allowed him to use Gmax Rapid Flow. So I almost think that might be a little bit of a misplay there on Alfredo's part. Well, I'm unsure if I agree with it, but there is still a world where I could see not getting your attachment down just yet. I guess maybe the reason to not have attached the Rapid Strike Energies, because I guess you do still leave yourself open to maybe using Metacham V during this turn. So maybe that's Alfredo's reasoning for not having attached it. That's probably my best guess, though. Okay, but he is going to use Radiant Alakazam, so of course that is going to allow him to move up to 2 damage counters from one of his opponent's Pokemon to another. So he's definitely going to do that, knock out the Mana Fee, and now this Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is free to sort of just rain down and cause a bunch of chaos on Garrett's bench there. So we are going to see an Ultra Ball getting rid of a Nest Ball and a Water Energy there. Okay. Second Inteleon VMAX. I'm actually curious how much energy Alfredo has in hand if he's discarding that Water Energy. Because, oh yeah, he has plenty of energy. So there's going to be a second ability for Inteleon softening up these Comfies. And there's going to be the Gmax Rapid Flow, knocking out Sableye and the Dragonite. And now, these Comfies are pretty easy to knock out. He can literally just use Radiant Alakazam, I believe, to knock out one of these Comfies for his last prize. And yeah, just looking at Garrett's hand, he does have a Chorus, I think, which is good. But what is he going to do after that? Oh, but there's going to be a Mirage Gate. Okay. Maybe just using it to see what he has left in deck. Yeah, I'm not sure where Garrett's going to go from here. I mean, technically there is a world where Garrett could have won this turn if he were able to find Raikou V plus Boss's Orders. But I don't think he has access to that combination of cards. Like I said, he does have a Chorus, which is definitely good. But yeah, this is just a really tough spot to be in. I honestly don't know if I see a way out because he can't really attack with, yeah, and there's going to be the fist bump. Garrett's going to pack it up. He sees the writing on the wall, and Alfredo is going to take this top 4 match and advance to the finals. So definitely be sure to stick around for the finals match whenever that one gets uploaded. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you did miss the top 8 match, I also did upload that one on the channel as well. I'll be sure to have links to all these different Top Cut matches down below in the description as they get uploaded to the channel. But if you guys do enjoy seeing these recorded tournaments, be sure to smack that like button for me. And if you're feeling maybe a little extra generous, you can always become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.